Hello and welcome back to my channel. For this video, I have yet another food card. Sorry guys, I just really like the food cards. I have Let's Toast, So Smooth, and Let's Barbecue stamp sets. Off camera, I went ahead and stamped and cut out all of the images that I knew I would be using. I did end up with a few extras, which is fine. I'll find a different reason to use them. So this piece of bread right here is going to be a piece of French toast. Now, I can color buns and stuff pretty well, like for a hot dog or a hamburger. French toast, ugh, that was difficult to color, and I'm not even sure why. All the little darker bits on the top, they don't really look like dots necessarily, and it just kind of confused me, so I went with dots anyway. So I used some yellow to kind of brighten it up, because in one of my test pieces that I did, it just looked a little too brown, I guess. It needed some brightness. So if you have better ways to color French toast, I would love to see it, because I don't feel like I did too great with this. But it's fine. In the end, it's fine. Just, I'm struggling with the French toast, guys. After I've added the dots I want, I do go back in with my lightest color to try to blend them out just a little so they're not quite so harsh. All of my images are going to end up getting a little bit of marker around the edges just to cover up any white bits from where it was cut right at the line. Next up, I have a hot dog from the Let's Barbecue stamp set, but I decided I would use it as a sausage today. So I know there are the smoked sausages that people sometimes eat for breakfast. Those aren't the ones that I'm used to. I'm used to the ones that are less smooth. I don't really know how to describe it, but I try to add a little bit of texture the same way I did with the bread by just stippling dots all over it, trying to make them more concentrated in the areas that I wanted it to be more shaded. I have been making recipe cards, and I have been drawing pictures of the food, and I have been coloring them, and I can say that it's helped me kind of branch out of my comfort zone when it comes to my colors. I've been mixing a lot more colors that I wouldn't normally mix. So this is definitely one of those instances where I put a couple other colors together that I probably wouldn't have done before, and I think it looks better for it. So moral of the story, go out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it actually works out pretty well. Now here I'm about to do something that will be kind of strange when you think about the fact that I tried to color the other items of food more realistically. I am coloring these strawberries pink, which really upset my toddler. He was very upset that I would color strawberries pink because strawberries were not supposed to be pink. And this little boy, so funny, he brought me his red colored pencil and started coloring one of the strawberries to show me what color it should be. It was cute and funny. But yeah, he was not happy with me and my color choices. But like I said, it was for just balance. Like, I didn't really like the way the red looked. Anyway, moving on, I have some circles that I have die cut. This one I am going to color brown. And I had my couple of shades that I had listed. What was it? E37 and E57. I kept it really basic. All I'm trying to accomplish here is to make this look like a cup of coffee from the top. So I have a second circle that I had die cut, and then I had cut out an even smaller circle from the center of it. So this will be like the rim of the cup. Now that that's done, my coffee cup needs something that looks like a handle from the top. So I decided to use my stitched teacup die set. I'm taking the spoon, I have die cut that, and I'm just going to use the end of the spoon to look like the top of the coffee cup handle. I think that worked out pretty well. Here I have a similar circle situation as the cup, but this will be a plate. I also have this pattern paper that I have cut out with the large stitched rectangle dies from Fawn. That's going to be my backdrop. So here I'm just assembling my food. I thought I would lay everything relatively flat and then decided against that. So I've actually popped the top piece of bread up on some foam tape. And then here I'm just playing around with the placement of everything. I wasn't sure how many of each of the items I would use. So I've even popped my little pat of butter on some foam tape. And I'm going to attach those to the plate. Now here you might be wondering why I have a spoon, because you do not eat French toast with the spoon, and you would be correct. The reason I have the spoon is because I didn't have a fork die, and I do have a Cricut and I could have cut one out, but I wanted it to be something that would be easily accessible to the people who watch my videos, because I know there are some of you that do have Cricuts, but some of you only have your card making supplies, like stamps and dies. So that's why I stuck to these. So this is something I should have done before I glued it down, but I didn't. So now I'm trying to give it a little bit of color, just so that it looks not like a piece of plastic cutlery. I'm going to take my Morning Dew Clear Nuvo drops, and I'm going to add them to the top of the coffee just to make it look more liquidy. I'm trying to keep it in a fairly thin layer. Now to help my French toast look a little better, I am going to take this honey lacquer from Hero Arts. This is no longer available, but I'm sure there's some kind of Nuvo drop or something similar that would look just as good, if not better. This is kind of a pale color for this, but I'm just making it look like syrup on my French toast. And one thing I can say about this particular lacquer, it's a bit old, so it is kind of chunky, which was not really what I was going for, so it took me a while to kind of spread it out. And even still, there was some amount of chunks, which not super appealing, but when it got dried, it wasn't quite so noticeable. I did decide to add a little drip off the French toast, you know, make it look more interesting. Now, one thing I did use my Cricut for is this pink paper. I didn't have anything big enough that was scalloped, so I did cheat and used my Cricut for that. Now, these little white hearts are from a previous card that I made using the quilted heart backdrop die. I saved all the heart cutouts, and I'm just going to place them one in each little scallop all around the rectangle. Now for my sentiment, I'm going to stamp it in walnut ink from Fawn. And I'm going to get the sentiment from this Critters in the Jungle stamp set. I'm going to use the Thanks a Bunch, except for I'm not going to stamp out the word bunch. For the remainder of my sentiment, I am going to use Henry's ABCs. I have cut out the letters to spell the word brunch. I've cut it out of the same cardstock that I used for my plate. So yes, it's a little corny, but my sentiment is going to read, "Thanks a brunch." I just had my letters lined up on my mat. I have some low tack tape I have taped over the top of them to be able to pick them up and transfer them to my panel without them shifting and being crooked. Unfortunately, my low tack tape was not low tack enough, so it did kind of mess up the letters slightly, but it's not super noticeable. Now, here I have a little square die cut that I have embossed with one of my random embossing folders just to give it some texture. This just adds a little bit more interest, and it's kind of like a napkin or something underneath the plate. So because the cup needed to be a bit higher than the plate, you now see foam tape. I don't really love that, so I have this very thin strip of cardstock that I have folded in half, which let me tell you, that was not easy. And now I'm just going to make little snips in the shorter side all the way down. And I'm just doing this for the entire edge of the cup. That way you will not see the foam tape and it'll look like a complete cup. So I'm just tucking in the edges that I glued all around underneath the top circle, and this will just make it look more cup-like. It's not perfect, and because I was trying to do this for the first time on camera, I didn't get the best shots of it. Yeah, that was a little bit of a struggle, but now it looks more cup-like. Made me happy. I was super tickled with this card, and I know it's silly, but I just like a good food card. Not really sure why. I just do food and critters, and if you can combine the two, even better. But after that, my card is complete. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with another video soon. Bye!